Hello, a very good evening to you. Welcome to Monday night's calendar.
Hello, thank you for joining us, and here are tonight's main stories.
The frontline GP staff facing a rise in abuse.
I'm going to do your car, I'm going to stab you, I'm going to throw this at you.
Now there are fears a growing number could simply quit. Also tonight.
Furious residents in a West Yorkshire town step up their fight against broadband poles as the row reaches Parliament.
There's not a single house, window in my house that I can't now see a pole. The only place I can't see a pole is if I go and lock myself in the garage.
Rhian Brewster pounces for Sheffield United.
Victory for the Blades in the Steel City Derby sets up one of the closest championship run-ins in years.
This little cold tip won't be the only one. Pleased to hear we have some warmer weather on the cards. I'll have the full forecast later on in the programme.
And after 120 years and counting for Leeds' last remaining Edwardian baths, why the community has once again rallied round, raising the roof to make sure it's fit for the future. Good evening. Threats of physical violence, equipment being thrown across rooms and, in some cases, racial abuse. None of that should be acceptable in any workplace, and yet it's the reality of what some staff in GP surgeries in South Yorkshire have faced.
And abusive behaviour is on the increase, so much so that Primary Care Sheffield has launched a campaign to try to encourage kindness. The latest stats show that 95% of the staff working in GP surgeries in South Yorkshire have experienced verbal abuse.
The government says it supports GP surgeries who report abusive patients to the police. Adam Fowler has our top story tonight.
The doctor has to have a look test.
They're the first port of call when we need to see a doctor, but increasingly staff at GP surgeries are subjected to physical and verbal abuse.
Oh, it's daily now, 3 or 4 times a day, whereas 5 years ago it might be a few times a week, but it's definitely on the rise. And the types of threats are getting more physical than what they would before. Somebody might curse you, and where I've had colleagues that have been racially abused and things like that, but now they're getting threats. Oh, I'm going to do your car, I'm going to stab you, I'm going to throw this at you. There's been surgeries where computers have been thrown at reception. So it's definitely getting more on the physical side.
The mental toll of relentless abuse can become unmanageable.
You just put the phone down and you just like, sort of, I can't do this job anymore. That's how it gets you. It's just constant. And I've just had time off work with mental health because the demands are that high. So I've just been off for 7 weeks because you just get to the stage where you just feel like you're trying to do your best and it's not enough.
The latest statistics from Primary Care Sheffield show that in South Yorkshire, 95% of staff in GP surgeries have experienced verbal abuse. 34% have experienced threats of physical violence, and 16% had experienced physical violence.
Ultimately, when that does wear them down, we do experience sickness in our teams because they can't cope with the abuse that they get when they come to work.
And what's the knock-on effect of that?
If you don't have staff in surgeries, then people can't get access, the phones don't get answered quickly enough, we reduce appointment times. So it causes a huge knock-on impact to the rest of the service.
Doncaster GP Professor Vijay Kumar is a member of the Royal College of GPs, which discussed the rising abuse at a recent meeting. He says he hasn't seen it this bad in 25 years.
One of the main reasons would be down to the long waiting list of 7.4 million people waiting for the hospital. Never in the history of NHS, in my career, have I come across this numbers waiting. The frustration seems to be taken out against primary care staff. Where else can patients turn to? And the inability of us to do more other than the politicians are those who really need to make the change.
The Department of Health and Social Care says GPs have their full support in refusing to treat or reporting to police abusive patients. And they are working with GPs to reform primary care, cut red tape and bring back the family doctor, and last week agreed a new contract worth £13.2 million. A new campaign has now been launched in Sheffield to crack down on abuse and protect those who are doing their best to help. Adam Fowler, ITV News, Sheffield.
Well, it's certainly a worrying problem, and we'd love to know what you think about this story. And there are plenty of ways, of course, to get in touch with us.
You can message us through our Facebook page, Calendar News. Drop us a line on X or Instagram at ITV Calendar.
Or you can send us an email. Our address, of course, is calendar@itv.com.
Now, there's growing anger in a West Yorkshire town tonight over poles being put up by a broadband provider that residents say will blight their lives.
People who live in Garforth say they're unsightly and they're not needed, as their internet is already supplied by underground cables.
They're now calling for a change in the law and the company responsible to take the poles down. Katie Oscroft reports.
The strength of feeling in Garforth has brought neighbours out of their homes, united over one wish: to see work to put poles up all over this town stopped.
It's unsightly, it's almost like going back to the 1950s. I've not really encountered anything like this for some considerable time, when there's been such a groundswell of public opinion against these things.
It's unnecessary because beneath our feet, to every single house on this estate, we've got access to 4 high-speed fibre underground networks.
Gary Barnes' house is surrounded.
There's not a single window in my house that I can't now see a pole. I feel completely useless that as a kind of an honest, law-abiding citizen, I can't fight something that's so intrusive in my environment and the community.
People who live here in an area which traditionally had few overhead wires are trying to fight back though, and they vowed not to use the broadband offered. Planning permission isn't needed for these poles, but the company putting them up, Giggle Fibre, hasn't yet responded to our request for a comment about the sheer weight of opposition to what they're doing. They have previously said that it's not possible to run their cables underground. The government says it's alive to the concerns of people in Garforth and joins the town's MP encouraging companies to share infrastructure.
It's really important that residents' views are heard. It's really important that people in Garforth get to decide what kind of environment they live in.
She's going to see that from a bedroom window. If it was under planning, we'd have choice. There's residents in the area that have had to put planning up to get their fences decreased because it overlooks someone else. Yeah, these poles can go up and she's going to have a pole up.
They've got this goal by 2030 to have the UK, gigabit connectivity everywhere. We've already got gigabit connectivity, so why are other companies coming in providing the exact same thing, just in a different way?
Just a blight, isn't it? You're used to looking at nice open scenery, open skies. Now you're going to look out, you're going to see wires dangling. When they're up, first of all, they'll be shiny, bright, tight, and with age they'll sag, they'll be dangling, they'll collect rubbish if it's blowing about in the reeds.
Residents say the long-term impact on their lives will be considerable. They want a change in the law before the damage is done. Katie Oscroft, ITV News, Leeds.
A murder investigation has been launched in Sheffield after a man died with suspected stab wounds. Police were called to a property on Barlow Drive at around 3 a.m. yesterday. A 44-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of murder and he remains in custody. Police cordons are in place on Barlow Drive and around the area of Roscoe Plantation allotments while inquiries take place.
A Northern Power Grid engineer is in hospital after he suffered life-threatening burns in a fire at a high-voltage electrical substation in Huddersfield. The emergency services were called out after an explosion at the substation at Milnesbridge on Saturday night. More than 70 homes were left without power for as many as 6 hours. The incident is being investigated by the Health and Safety Executive and Northern Power Grid.
Campaigners from the Women Against State Pension Inequality, or WASPI group, have launched a legal challenge against the government after not compensating those affected by state pension age changes. The group has raised more than £150,000 to fund a High Court challenge, which they hope will force the government to reconsider. A government spokesperson said they do not comment on live litigation. It has previously apologised to WASPI women.
And that's our members and supporters saying to us, we want you to carry on. Don't give up. We don't think the government should get away with it. But we're 9 years on into the campaign and we're having to fight again, and we'd rather not have to.
You're watching Calendar. Stay with us because still to come. Chris goes wild after the Steel City derby. Plus,
it's the spring equinox today, the time when days and nights are equal, and after today, the days will be getting longer. Some spring-like weather on the cards as well. The details are coming up.
And find out how a huge community effort is helping to raise the roof of these Edwardian baths in Leeds.
Well, next to the new project aiming to expand into our region, which works to support some of the very most vulnerable people in our local communities.
Yes, the multi-bank set up by former Prime Minister Gordon Brown collects surplus essentials like bedding, furniture and clothing from businesses, and with the help of some of our local charities will pass them on to those who need them the most.
6 multi-banks have opened so far around the UK with the aim of tackling rising levels of poverty while fighting product waste. Chris Conway reports.
Picked and packed, essentials to help those in need. A warehouse full, ready to be distributed. Katie's organisation works with those supported by the multi-bank.
You know, you've got a child going to school and other children have got something and they haven't because mum's had to put the extra shopping in the house. You know, a lot of people don't believe in it, but it has a bigger picture because poverty is not just the material things. You've got families who are dealing with mental struggles, not being able to get back into work, and then they can't afford to put food on the table without buying these essentials.
Opening the latest multi-bank, former Prime Minister Gordon Brown, who founded the multi-bank network.
To be at the launch of this great new venture for the city, and to just think how many children are going to benefit from what you are doing.
The multi-bank offers everyday items, so things like protective hand wash, clothing items like t-shirts, and even items for the kitchen to help cook food at home.
With more than 1 in 5 people now living in poverty across the country, items donated to multi-banks will be distributed by referrals from local charities who know those most in need. Wasim is from the Community Fridge Food Bank in Halifax. He hopes multi-banks can help with increasing demands for support.
It's a situation where people are struggling with living in poverty, and we're averaging over 75 people every day. We've seen a big increase in people asking for stuff as clothes, coats, household goods such as washing machines, microwaves, kettles, bedding, loads of other stuff.
The creation of multi-banks comes as part of a partnership with Amazon. Across the multi-bank network, 7 million goods have helped support 600,000 families. Last year, 800,000 orders were delivered.
This year across the UK, we will distribute more than 1 million orders to families in need across the UK. Everyone who's involved here would say it is a shame that this exists, but because the need is out there, we want as many businesses involved as possible to create this coalition of compassion and make a real difference.
The ambition is to open more multi-banks in the months ahead, not just to supply essential goods, but those behind it say to restore hope to families that better days lie ahead.
Well, as you saw there, Gordon Brown is the man behind the multi-bank network.
Chris Conway spoke to the former Prime Minister to ask how far-reaching this scheme could become and his reasons for getting involved.
What we've realised is that there's been a shocking rise in child poverty over 15 years. In many places, you don't want families having to choose between heating, eating and even keeping clean by not being able to buy soap and shampoo and toothpaste and so on like that. And it used to be pensioner poverty that we were most worried about, but it's child poverty that has grown so much over recent years, and it's grown particularly in all the city regions.
What is your message to anyone in Yorkshire who may be watching this and finds themselves struggling financially?
So small things can often make a huge difference to someone's life. Yes, food matters, but so does toothpaste, soap, shampoo, cleaning materials. And I think Britain has got compassion. People in Britain want to see things get better. And I think if we work as a community, we can do that.
Do you accept, though, Gordon, that there are decisions the Chancellor has taken which have increased pressure on working people and therefore, as a result, make them more likely to need to use a multi-bank?
Well, actually, 70% of children who are in poverty are in families where someone's working. So the minimum wage is actually going to go up. quite significantly in April. And obviously we're looking for the Child Poverty Review to deal with that problem of low pay in work. One of the problems in our economy is we've got skill shortages and yet we've got low pay. So if you can give people the skills to get into the better jobs, what I mean better paid jobs, then you're taking people out of poverty as well.
What is the future for the multi-bank model? Do you anticipate we'll see more across the UK in the years ahead?
Across the UK, across Europe, across America, there'll always be a need for repurposing surplus goods. And what we've started in Britain, I think, is going to flow to Europe. And I know people have come across from America to look at what we're doing. I think this idea of an anti-pollution bank will always be something that is wanted.
Gordon Brown, thank you very much.
The ITV Evening News continues at 6:30. Here's a look at what's happening with Mary Nightingale.
Coming up in the programme, backlash over benefits. The government faces a rebellion over its planned reforms to welfare. It says the system is failing young people, but the wait continues to find out exactly what changes will be made. New Ofcom rules are brought in to try to stop children seeing illegal and harmful content online. But what impact will they have? Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Well, staying on a sporting theme, Arif is here. And Arif, good evening. What have you got for us tonight?
Ian, well, there's only one place to start tonight, and that is with the Steel City Derby, as Sheffield United do the double over their closest rivals.
Xero Accounting Software sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Well, the bragging rights sit squarely with the red and white side of the city as Sheffield United beat Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough. Both sides were desperate for the 3 points to enhance their promotion bids. Wednesday created the best opening, but Michael Smith was denied by a fine save. Then, in the second half, and with their first shot on target, Rhian Brewster couldn't and didn't miss from just 2 yards out to score the only goal of the game.
Losing was never in our thought process. It was never in my mind. It was never in me coming here at the end and talking about losing. It was talking about win, win, win. And we, like you talked about there, we found a way and we've won most games in the division.
There was a bit of an after party for manager Chris Wilder, wasn't it?
Yes, there was indeed, Lauren. You remember he did something similar back in November after the home game, as the Sheffield United head coach was seen on social media celebrating with some fans yesterday. Was there right in the middle, enjoying himself. Let's remember, he is a boyhood blade. What an afternoon that must have been for the United fans.
Now, on the screen behind you there, Arif, we've got the two feuding cousins that we featured on Friday night.
Yes.
Have they made up yet?
Well, you remember that I said if I was one of these two and my team lost, I wouldn't be showing up to work today. I'll probably take the week off, to be honest.
Yeah.
But these two are bigger men than me, as they both turned up for work this morning, and it looks like they have made up. But Josh, there, proudly wearing his United shirt, has certainly been reminding Niall of who won.
This bragging rights, it'll go on for weeks, you know. It's not just one day, it's not just a few days, it goes on for weeks. To be honest, last night I turned my phone off. I had so many missed calls, people ringing me, people texting me. I just thought, no, turning my phone off. I'm not dealing with it.
So it's upstairs, downstairs for the work, is it?
Yeah. Maybe for the next few days.
And United fans have extra reason to be celebrating then.
They do, Lara. Not only was it a win over their closest rivals, but it was also a win that took them joint top of the Championship. That's because on Saturday afternoon, Leeds dropped points in the capital. The Whites had to come from behind to draw 2-2 with QPR, but Leeds stay on top on goal difference. Elsewhere in the Football League, Huddersfield started life without head coach Michael Duff in emphatic style. The Terriers scored 4 goals inside half an hour as they thrashed Crawley 5-1. Mansfield won for the first time in 15 games. They beat managerless Barnsley 2-1. Owen Bailey rescued a point for Doncaster away at Crewe, and Chesterfield beat Notts County thanks to a late goal from Tom Naylor.
So that's the football done and dusted. What about Rugby League? The Challenge Cup weekend, how did our sides get on?
Not great, to be honest, Ian. Only one team left standing. 4 teams were knocked out, and that team left standing is Wakefield Trinity, and they had to do it the hard way. They were 12-6 down at half-time against the Huddersfield Giants, but 3 unanswered tries in the second half fired Wakefield into the last 8. And finally, before I go, it's a quick congratulations to the Leeds Knight hockey team. They are now the National League champions for the 3rd season in a row. Congratulations to them.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Really good,
for them.
thank you.
Yeah, you are welcome. That's
Okay,
all your
then.
support.
Thanks. Now, how's this for an unconventional holiday? It's got panoramic views of the Lincolnshire coast. During the war, it hosted the Dam Busters, and today some of its bedrooms come complete with a fuel gauge and propellers. Well, this is RAF Wainfleet, the former airbase near Skegness, where aircraft have been converted into a series of glamping pods. It's the brainchild of farmer Will Ruffton, who's come up with this unusual way of diversifying his business. And it's more than just military hardware that's had the holiday home treatment. His latest addition is a combine harvester hollowed out to now sleep 4.
Being a farmer, this is the one thing that I really wanted to do myself. Wasn't sure if we were going to be able to manage it or not, but as you can see, it's very different inside.
It certainly is.
It's taken a bit of doing, but as with most of the pods, we've insulated it, lined it out. We put underfloor heating in and obviously insulated all the walls, put a little skylight in so you're lying underneath the stars at night. And yeah, it's a lovely comfy space.
Well, you can see more of Will's quirky conversions on the calendar section of ITVX. Head to the ITVX app on your smart TV, phone or online. Then you just need to click on categories, then click on news and then scroll down to find the link. And while you're there, you can also catch up on our latest programmes, some of the best stories we've been covering and other exclusive content for ITVX by calendar on demand.
Finally tonight, it's been at the heart of the community since 1904, and now Bramley Baths is going from strength to strength thanks to a huge fundraising effort. It's the last remaining Edwardian bathhouse in Leeds, with many of its original features still intact. Now, the baths were built to improve public health and well-being after the outbreak of cholera, and the iconic chimney you can see there was built from Kirkstall bricks, and it still towers over the baths today.
Social events, galas and swimming lessons dominated the 50s, 60s and 70s, and generations of local people learned to swim there, of course. And it's been run by the community for more than 10 years, and the Grade 2 listed building has recently been awarded a blue plaque from the Leeds Civic Trust in recognition of its significance in Leeds' wider heritage.
Well, Sally Simpson is there for us now with news of a massive milestone in the campaign to preserve the baths for future generations. Sally, it looks a bit quiet there at the moment, but they've managed to raise all this money in the most unusual way, haven't they?
It's a staggering achievement, and it really shows how special this place is to all the people that use it. Nearly £375,000 raised to preserve this heritage treasure. And it's not through traditional fundraising methods that they've done it. It's via a community share offer. It's the first time they've tried it, and thanks to the support of 531 investors, boy, has it paid off. Well, Jenny Willett has led the fundraising drive here at Bramley Baths, and she's with me now. Jenny, you must be thrilled. Tell me what this money will mean to the baths.
It's just absolutely fantastic. It means that we can finally fix the roof, so stop the water coming in, and it means we can put more energy efficiency solutions in there as well to really help sustain the building long term. It's just fantastic.
People have put their money where their mouth is. Why do they hold this place so close to their hearts?
I think it's just such a pillar of the community. Like, we've been here over 120 years, and I think it's in everyone's living memory. They've either learnt to swim here, they might have danced here years ago. It's just wonderful, and they hold all those beautiful memories, and they just love the place. We're so lucky.
And it's not just a rich history this place boasts, it's really got a very vibrant presence.
Absolutely has, yeah. We've got over 1,000 children that come to our swimming lessons. We've got 16 schools that use us for their swimming lessons. We've also got over 900 members that use the gym, use the classes and the pool as well. So yeah, when you really stop and think about how many people actually walk through the doors on a weekly, daily basis, it's just fantastic.
And when so many places for public swimming are closing down, it's a great time to have a positive story, isn't it?
Absolutely is, yeah. They're so needed in the community. Like, there's just such a place for health and well-being and that sense of community that everyone needs, especially when you're thinking about tackling things like social isolation, that kind of thing. It's just wonderful.
And the money that people have put into the fund, they will get a little bit of that back, won't they?
They certainly will. Yes, so as you've said, as opposed to normal traditional methods of fundraising, we've been able to give a little bit of interest back, and which will be start after the first year. So yeah, we're really proud that we can do that as well.
Very exciting times indeed for Bramley Bath, isn't it, Jenny? Thanks very much indeed for joining us. And there are swimming lessons going on as we speak. As Jenny says, it's still very much used part of the community. It's good news and a great example of people power really making a splash.
Thank you very much, Sally, live at Bramley Baths in Leeds. She might go for a splash later.
I thought we were going to see her in a cosy, actually, but we
too.
didn't, did we? No. Probably a good job, eh, at this time of night. Now then, let's get the weather forecast. Here's Joe Blythe.
Today's forecast: seafood and sugar cube towns. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello, a very good evening to you. After a rather dull, cloudy start to the working week, the promise of something warmer and certainly dry and bright over the next few days or so. Temperatures are on the up before it unravels again weather-wise at the weekend. A little cooler with rain in store. We can see quite nicely high pressure dominating across the UK and a pull of mild, potentially quite warm air through the middle part of the week, moving up from the south before perhaps a more unsettled end to the week with low pressure back in the driving seat. But back to this evening and overnight, skies will clear as we head through towards midnight and beyond. A chilly night to come with a widespread frost away from the coasts, temperatures dipping just below freezing, certainly away from towns and cities, a dry night ahead and a cold, bright start to Tuesday. The sun will be rising tomorrow at 6:15 and setting at 6:15 tomorrow evening. Tomorrow's details then, frosty in quite a few spots but dry and bright. Winds are fairly light through the day tomorrow and into the afternoon, plenty of sunshine on offer for Yorkshire. A dry day to come and temperature-wise climbing to around 10 Celsius through tomorrow afternoon. Not feeling too bad if you're out of that breeze tomorrow. And day on day temperatures pick up. So by Wednesday 11 or 12 degrees and again plenty of sunshine to look forward to. Thursday and Friday dry, bright days, sunny spells and temperatures getting a boost from that southerly airflow. So 16, perhaps 17 Celsius by day and it shouldn't be too chilly by night. As we head into the weekend, low pressure will be back in the driving seat so we can expect some rain on Saturday. Enjoy your evening.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Yes, thank you very much, Joe. Soon we'll be able to enjoy the evening, won't we?
We'll all be able to get our swimming cozies on, won't we? It's going to be lovely.
You go first.
I will if you will.
Go on then. That's it for now. Ian's back at 10:30 and Mary's next. Bye-bye.
Yeah, see you later. Bye for now.